Legends. Stories whispered on the wind, tales of wonder and fear. They spread like wildfire, drawing the curious and the brave. The Enigma Woods was one such legend. Nestled between rolling hills and towering mountains, it promised adventure. But it also held a darkness that whispered back. The locals spoke of the Whispering Path, a trail within the woods, ever changing, ever shifting. It lured travellers deep into its embrace. Some sought treasure, others sought answers. Few found what they sought, fewer still returned unchanged. Those who dared to tread the path spoke of its strange magic. It twisted and turned, leading them astray. It reflected their deepest fears and desires. The Whispering Path was not just a trail, it was a journey into the heart of the unknown. The Enigma Woods held a strange allure. Its trees stood tall and ancient, their branches intertwined like gnarled fingers. Sunlight struggled to penetrate the dense canopy, casting long shadows that danced in the breeze. The air hung heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth. Myths and legends clung to the woods like morning mist. Stories of lost travelers, strange creatures, and whispers on the wind. Some dismissed them as mere folklore, but others knew better. They knew that the woods held a power that could both enchant and terrify. The Whispering Path was the heart of this enigma. It beckoned adventurers with promises of discovery and self-reflection. But it also demanded a price paid in courage, vulnerability, and the willingness to face one's deepest fears. Many had heard the whispers. Few dared to answer. The allure of the unknown was strong, but so was the fear. The Whispering Path was not for the faint of heart. It was a path less travelled, a journey into the depths of the human spirit. But there were those who could not resist the call, those who sought something more than the mundane. They yearned for adventure, for self-discovery, for a glimpse into the heart of the mystery. These were the souls drawn to the Enigma Woods. And so the whispers continued. Carried on the wind, they reached the ears of those who were ready to listen, ready to face the unknown, ready to walk the Whispering Path.
Let's do it! Let's face the unknown and see what we're made of.
Emma, Liam, Sarah, and Tom. Four friends, bound by years of laughter, shared dreams, and a thirst for something more. They felt the monotony of everyday life closing in, the spark of adventure dimming. The whispers of Enigma Woods reached them like a siren song, promising escape and a chance to rediscover the fire within. Emma, the fearless leader of their pack, jumped at the challenge. Adventure coursed through her veins, and the thought of the Whispering Path set her spirit ablaze.
The whispers of the woods called to me, promising a journey into the heart of something extraordinary.
Liam, ever the voice of reason, tempered his initial hesitation with cautious curiosity. He craved a break from the ordinary, a chance to escape the pressures of his predictable life. Friends of the Forest.
I felt the weight of my artistic aspirations pressing down on me. I longed for inspiration, for the courage to embrace my talent and share it with the world. The whispers of the woods spoke to my soul, promising a chance to unlock the creativity trapped within.
Tom, the quiet one of the group, carried the weight of uncertainty on his shoulders. He struggled to find his place, his voice, his purpose.
The whispers of the woods intrigued me, offering a glimmer of hope that perhaps within its depths I might find myself.
Together they made a pact. They would venture into the Enigma Woods, walk the Whispering Path, and face whatever challenges awaited them. They would support each other, push each other, and emerge from the woods forever changed. A promise whispered. The morning of their departure dawned bright and clear, the sun casting long shadows through the trees. They gathered at the edge of the woods, a mix of nervous excitement and anticipation hanging in the air. The whispers seemed louder now, beckoning them forward.
What's the worst that could happen?
Her words, meant to lighten the mood, hung in the air, a promise whispered to the wind. They had no idea the journey that lay ahead, the trials they would face, the truths they would uncover. With a deep breath and a shared look of determination, they stepped across the threshold, leaving behind the familiar world they knew and venturing into the heart of the unknown. The whispering path awaited, ready to test their limits, expose their vulnerabilities, and ultimately lead them on a journey of self-discovery they would never forget. Sunlight and shadow. The first steps were the easiest. Sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, painting the forest floor in a mosaic of light and shadow. Birdsong filled the air, a symphony of nature's music. The friends walked side by side, their laughter echoing through the ancient trees. Emma, ever the adventurer, led the way, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Liam followed close behind, his gaze shifting between the map and their surroundings. Sarah marveled at the play of light and shadow, her artist's eye capturing every detail. Tom, usually quiet and reserved, found himself drawn into the tranquility of the woods, his anxieties momentarily forgotten. The path, initially wide and clear, began to narrow, winding its way deeper into the heart of the woods. The air grew cooler, the sunlight dimmer as the canopy overhead thickened, shrouding the forest floor in a verdant twilight. The whispers, once faint and distant, seemed to grow closer, surrounding them like the rustling of unseen leaves. They reached a moss-covered bridge spanning a babbling brook. As they paused to catch their breath, the carefree atmosphere began to shift. The sunlight, once dappled and playful, seemed to dim, casting long, eerie shadows that stretched and danced around them.
Didn't we pass this bridge before?
Liam asked, a hint of uncertainty in his voice. He consulted the map, his brow furrowed in confusion.
The path seems different, twisted somehow.
Emma, ever confident, dismissed his concerns with a wave of her hand.
It's just the woods playing tricks on us. Come on, let's keep moving.
But as they pressed forward, the path seemed to twist and turn, leading them in circles. Familiar landmarks vanished, replaced by unfamiliar terrain. The trees, once majestic and welcoming, seemed to close in on them, their branches reaching out like grasping claws. The whispers grew louder, no longer the gentle rustling of leaves, but a cacophony of voices, murmuring just beyond the reach of understanding. Fear, once a distant shadow, began to creep into their hearts, slithering through the spaces between their laughter and their forced jokes. Sarah, her senses heightened by her artistic nature, felt the first tremor of unease. The shadows seemed to dance more menacingly around her, the whispers transforming into taunting voices that echoed her own deepest fears.
I feel like the forest is watching us, mocking us.
Tom, his insecurity already a heavy weight on his soul, felt the oppressive atmosphere of the woods pressing down on him, suffocating him with doubt and uncertainty. The whispers played on his vulnerabilities, amplifying the voices in his head that told him he was not good enough, not worthy.
Why do I feel like this place knows exactly how to break me?
Liam, ever the pragmatic one, struggled to maintain his composure as the path twisted and turned, leading them further and further astray. The map, once a source of guidance, now seemed like a cruel joke, its markings shifting and changing before his eyes. Only Emma, her adventurous spirit fueled by a strange sense of determination, seemed unfazed by the growing darkness around them. But even she couldn't ignore the feeling that the woods were reflecting their deepest fears back at them, amplifying their doubts and insecurities.
This map, it's useless now.
As the thick mist rolled in, obscuring the path ahead, they found themselves at a crossroads. 4 paths diverged before them, each disappearing into the swirling greyness. The whispers reached a fever pitch, urging them forward, tempting them with promises of what lay ahead. But in the depths of their hearts, a chilling truth began to dawn. They were no longer in control. The whispering path had begun to choose its own course.
We have to choose a path, but which one?
The mist thickened, and they realized the forest was no longer just a setting, but a living entity, guiding their every step. The mist pressed against Sarah, cold and damp. It seeped into her clothes, chilling her to the bone. But it was the silence that truly frightened her. The whispers, which had been a constant presence, were gone, replaced by an unnerving quiet that amplified the pounding of her own heart.
Emma, Liam?
She looked back, or at least she tried to. The mist had swallowed the path, erasing any trace of her friends. Panic welled up inside her, a tight knot in her chest. She was alone, lost in a labyrinth of trees that seemed to watch her every move.
Emma, Liam?
Only silence answered. The trees stood stoic, their branches heavy with unseen eyes. The forest held its breath, waiting, watching, judging. Sarah felt a familiar ache behind her eyes, the sting of unshed tears, the weight of her own expectations pressing down on her. The forest seemed to magnify her doubts, amplifying the voice inside her head that whispered,
You'll never be good enough.
The path beneath her feet shifted. No longer solid ground, it felt soft, yielding, as if she were walking on a bed of moss that breathed with every step. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of decay and the faintest hint of something sickly sweet. A gnarled branch snagged at her sleeve, its bark rough against her skin. Sarah flinched back, her heart pounding.
Ah,
The branch, as if possessed by a life of its own, twisted and turned, forming a grotesque hand that reached for her. She stumbled backward, tripping over a root hidden beneath the undergrowth. As she fell, she saw them. Images flashed before her eyes. Paintings, sketches, drawings, her art, but twisted, distorted, grotesque reflections of her deepest fears. Each image held a mirror to her soul, reflecting back her insecurities. The fear of failure, the terror of being judged, the paralyzing dread that her talent would never be enough. Tom felt a growing distance between himself and his friends. It wasn't a physical separation, not yet. It was something colder, heavier, an invisible wall built of his own making. Their laughter, once a comforting melody, now grated on his ears, a constant reminder of his own inability to join in, to truly connect. He lagged behind, his gaze fixed on the path. Each step was heavy, weighted down by the invisible burden he carried. The whispers of the woods seemed to press in on him, echoing the doubts that swirled within his mind.
You're invisible, unimportant, just a shadow.
Tom's hands balled into fists. He hated the way the whispers burrowed under his skin, how they echoed the insecurities he tried so desperately to bury. He wanted to shout back, to silence the voices, both internal and external, but the words wouldn't come. His throat felt constricted, his voice a prisoner within his own chest. The forest floor seemed to tilt beneath his feet. He stumbled, reaching out for something, anything to steady himself, but his fingers grasped only empty air. He was alone, adrift in a sea of whispering trees and suffocating doubt. The path ahead vanished. One moment it was there, a clear trail through the dense undergrowth. The next it was gone, swallowed by a wall of tangled thorns and gnarled branches. Tom stopped short, his breath catching in his throat. He was trapped, hemmed in on all sides by a wall of impenetrable foliage. The air grew heavy, the silence pressing down on him like a physical weight.
I can't breathe.
Tom felt a surge of panic rising within him, threatening to consume him, and then he heard them, voices whispering his name. At first they were faint, distant echoes carried on the wind, but they grew louder, closer, until they surrounded him, a chorus of whispers that seemed to emanate from the very trees themselves.
Who's there? What do you want?
Tom, they hissed. Why are you here? What is your purpose? Tom spun around, searching for the source of the voices, but the trees offered no answers. Their branches swayed in the breeze, their leaves rustling like whispers.
Please, just tell me what you want.
But the whispers only grew louder, more insistent, leaving Tom feeling more lost and alone than ever. The mist swirled around Emma and Liam, a thick, disorienting fog that separated them from their friends and from any sense of direction. The once familiar path had vanished, swallowed by the shifting landscape of the woods. Panic threatened to consume them, but they clung to each other, their bond a lifeline in the heart of the encroaching darkness.
Sarah, Tom?
Emma called out, her voice tight with worry. But her words were swallowed by the mist, echoing back to her as empty whispers. Liam, his hand gripping hers, squeezed reassuringly. But even his usual stoicism couldn't mask the fear that flickered in his eyes.
Stay close, Emma. We can't lose each other.
The trees around them seemed to press closer, their branches twisting and turning, forming grotesque shapes that danced at the edge of their vision. The whispers, once faint and distant, grew louder, more insistent, weaving their way into their thoughts, planting seeds of doubt and suspicion.
What if we can't find them?
Emma whispered, her voice trembling. Liam, ever the voice of reason, forced a reassuring smile.
We will. We have to.
But even as he spoke, he couldn't shake the feeling that the woods were testing them, pushing them to the limits of their strength, their loyalty, their friendship. The path beneath Emma's feet shimmered, transforming from solid ground into a staircase that spiraled upwards into the swirling mist. The whispers beckoned her, promising her everything she had ever desired. Success, recognition, the admiration of her peers. It was a siren's song, seductive and dangerous, and Emma felt herself drawn to it, her ambition a flame that threatened to consume her.
Liam, look, a way out.
Liam, ever cautious, hesitated. He felt a pull towards the stairs as well, but something about the way they shimmered, the way the whispers seemed to emanate from them, filled him with unease.
Emma, wait.
He said, reaching for her arm. But she was already climbing, drawn upwards by the promise of something more, something greater. Liam, torn between following his friend and heeding the warning bells ringing in his head, took a hesitant step forward. He couldn't let her face this alone. The stairs twisted and turned, leading them higher and higher into the mist. As they climbed, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, weaving themselves into the fabric of their thoughts, amplifying their desires, fueling their ambitions.
This is it, Liam. This is what we've been searching for.
Emma, her eyes bright with excitement, practically skipped up the steps, her fear forgotten in the face of the promise that lay ahead. But Liam, his heart pounding in his chest, couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into a trap, lured by the siren song of their own desires. Liam watched as Emma, her face flushed with excitement, reached the top of the staircase. The mist parted before her, revealing a clearing bathed in warm sunlight. In the centre of the clearing stood a magnificent oak tree, its branches heavy with golden leaves that shimmered like coins in the light. And beneath the tree, piled high, were canvases, sketchbooks, easels, all the tools of an artist's trade.
Emma, it's...
Liam began, but his words caught in his throat. He had never seen her so happy, her eyes sparkling with a joy he had never witnessed before. She reached out, her fingers brushing against the surface of a canvas, and as she did, a whisper, softer than the others, brushed against Liam's ear.
This is what you crave.
Liam closed his eyes, his hand instinctively moving to cover his heart. The whisper was right. He did crave this. Not the material possessions, but the passion, the creativity, the freedom that resonated from the clearing. It was a stark contrast to the whispers that had taunted him before. Whispers of obligation, of responsibility, of a secure and predictable life that left him feeling empty and unfulfilled. He opened his eyes, his gaze meeting Emma's. She had turned to look at him, her expression a mixture of excitement and uncertainty.
Liam, aren't you coming?
She asked, her voice hesitant for the first time since they had embarked on this journey. Liam took a deep breath, the weight of his decision settling upon him. He could follow the path laid out for him, the path of security and societal expectations, or he could choose a different path, a path guided by his heart, a path that led him towards the light he now saw shining in Emma's eyes. Lost in the swirling mists and haunted by their deepest fears, Emma, Liam, Sarah and Tom found themselves at the heart of the Enigma Woods. It wasn't a physical location, but a state of being, a crossroads where the paths of their lives intersected with the ancient magic of the forest. They had been separated by their trials, each confronting the shadows within. Sarah paralyzed by the fear of failure, Tom silenced by the weight of his own invisibility, Emma lured by the siren song of ambition, Liam torn between duty and his heart's desire. But the forest, in its own way, had brought them together. It had stripped away their facades, their carefully constructed defenses, revealing the raw, vulnerable truth beneath.
It feels like we're standing at the edge of something huge.
Yeah, but maybe that's what we need to face it together.
And in that shared vulnerability, they found strength. They saw themselves reflected in each other's struggles, recognized the universality of their fears and desires. The whispers, once a source of fear and doubt, began to change. They were no longer taunting voices, but echoes of their own hearts, urging them to confront their truths, to embrace their vulnerabilities, to choose the paths that resonated with their souls.
We can do this, together.
They saw the truth in each other's eyes, the determination to face whatever lay ahead. Sarah, her hand trembling, picked up a fallen paintbrush. It felt foreign, dangerous, a tool that could be used to create beauty or to inflict pain. But as she looked at her friends, their faces etched with concern and encouragement, she felt a surge of determination. She would no longer allow fear to dictate her art, her life.
No more hiding. I can do this.
Tom, his throat tight, took a step forward. He had spent so long hiding in the shadows, afraid to speak, afraid to be seen. But the warmth in Emma's eyes, the quiet strength in Liam's stance, the fierce determination in Sarah's gaze reminded him that he was not alone. He had a voice, and it was time to use it.
It's time to be seen, time to speak up.
Emma, her heart pounding, stepped back from the shimmering staircase. The allure of ambition, once so powerful, now seemed hollow, meaningless without the support of her friends. She had been so focused on reaching the top that she had almost forgotten why she had started climbing in the first place.
It's not just about the top, it's about the journey and who we share it with.
Liam, his hand on his heart, felt a wave of peace wash over him. He had spent his life trying to please others, to follow the path laid out for him, but the whispers of the forest, the echoes of his own heart, had shown him a different way, a way that embraced passion, creativity, and the unwavering support of those he loved.
I choose this path, our path.
They stood together, a circle of strength and unity in the heart of the swirling mist. The whispers, now a harmonious chorus, urged them forward, not towards separate destinies, but towards a shared future, a future where their individual paths intertwined, illuminated by the light of their newfound understanding. The whispers faded, the mist dissipated. Sunlight, warm and golden, broke through the dense canopy, illuminating the path before them. It was no longer twisted, no longer shifting. It was a clear path, leading them out of the heart of the woods and back into the world they had left behind. But they were different now, changed. The whispering path had tested them, challenged them, stripped them bare, and forced them to confront the deepest truths within. They had faced their fears and emerged stronger, more resilient, more aware of themselves and each other. Emma, her heart ablaze with a newfound passion, embraced her art with a fearlessness she had never known. Sarah, her voice strong and clear, found solace in the shared silence of their friendship. Tom, his steps lighter, walked with a newfound confidence, his presence no longer a shadow, but a beacon of quiet strength. And Liam, his heart open to the possibilities that lay ahead, followed the path less travelled, guided by the compass of his own heart. The Enigma Woods remained, a place of mystery, of magic, of whispered promises and hidden truths. But the four friends, bound by their shared experience, knew they would never be the same. They had walked the whispering path and emerged transformed, forever marked by the journey into the heart of the forest, the journey into the heart of themselves.